What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're taking a look at Sonic X Shadow Generations here on the Steam Deck, and I did grab the version that gives you access a couple days early. I've really been excited to check out this game and play through it myself, and I've gone through some of the beginning missions on both of the Sonic games here in this collection, and I've been playing it a good bit on the Steam Deck, so I want to jump in and take a look at some performance here for Sonic X Shadow Generations. Now, this is, again, two games, so we've got the remaster of the Sonic Generations here to play through, which definitely is running great, and then we have Shadow Generations, which is definitely more what I'm here for. I think it's about a 5-hour campaign they've got here, and there's more settings for graphics and stuff on that game that we'll get into as well. But let's start with the original Sonic Generations here, and we're just going to be running high 60 FPS. We can't go any higher than that here. FXAA, no VSync on here, 800p, though there's no built-in 1610 support for this game at all right now. So we'll go ahead and jump into it here, and performance for the game for this one, the original Sonic Generations here redone, is really good. It's pretty much just a solid 60 FPS experience. From time to time you might see a hiccup or a drop to 58 or 59, then it will come back up to 60, but for the most part my time spent jumping into quite a few different levels, it was pretty much just 60 FPS here, just, you know, running everything on high, which was kind of what I expected. There's not a whole lot of options here, and you do have the different levels to play through. So like you have Act 1 and Act 2, and what these are is the 3D versions of levels and the 2D versions of levels, and you got to play through both of those to unlock more areas to go through and all that. And performance for both of those were really good. Of course, you would expect the issues, if you're going to have any, to be in the more 3D or the more intense levels. Let's jump over to the other version of this one, which is the 2D or the side scroller level of this, which is really cool, just playing through it in another version here. But again, of course, this game running a pretty solid 60 FPS. So of course, if you were wanting to save battery, you could lock things down to a 30 or a 40 or a 45 FPS with this game as well and do fine. But I do like my Sonic games to run 60 or higher when I can. I just think they look the best and feel the best that way. But yeah, that's the Sonic Generations run on Steam Deck. Don't think we're gonna have any trouble there. Plays really great and looks great on the OLED as well. Now switching over to Shadow Generations, we have a little bit more when it comes to the options here. Newer build here for this game that they've made for this additional campaign. And again, no 1610 support, but we'll run 800p. We're going to use the high preset, and then we'll take a look at low, but still using 120 and TAA. So getting into that, this one actually has kind of an open world you can explore in between your levels. And on high, it's going to run between 40 and 60, typically 45 and 65 FPS. It'll boost up and down from time to time there. But my low settings are basically the low preset, but go with the 120 on the OLED here. Maybe you just go 60 on your LCD, and then still using TAA here for the anti-aliasing. Other than that, just leaving the rest of it at the preset, and that'll easily gain you another 20 FPS or more depending on where you're at in the game. So depending on how you want to run this, depending on if you're on the LCD or the OLED, will kind of depend on what you want to run for your settings and your FPS there. But we definitely have plenty of room to play. Going back over to that high preset here in 800p into a level to play through, one of the 3D versions here. This runs quite well considering, and of course it'll vary. It'll get pretty high sometimes, but for the most part 45 to 55 FPS. And I've since played other levels since making this video and recording, and yeah, that seems to be the case for most of the levels I'm getting into later on. Now, if we do switch over to that lower setting that I was using here, keeping the TA and 120 FPS for the video, we actually gain about 20 FPS, sometimes 30 FPS over that. So, and there's not a huge difference in the visuals for this game. It still looks really good, but it's just really going to depend on how you want to run it, and maybe if you're on the LCD or the OLED, really what you're trying to pull out of the machine as well. And back over to our, or continuing on with our low here into some other levels, you'll see pretty consistent performance staying up there in the 70s and 80s. And this does look and feel great on the OLED Steam Deck as well. I have played it on the LCD, but with the 60 FPS, I'm just basically keeping it a little bit lower there. And again, you could cap this to all different ways with 30, 45, 60, and all of that. Switching over to the high preset right here in that same area, we're going to drop that 20 or 25 FPS, come back down to the 50s, but it's still great, and it's not really going to matter however you really want to run this or tweak the settings in between these. And mess with it that way. There's plenty of room to be able to run this game, both versions, however you want to on your Steam Deck and really enjoy it. I'm having a blast with it. It's something I've been looking forward to as a Sonic fan, and so far I'm having a lot of fun, especially with the shadow generations here. And it looks great, and it's running great here with smooth frame times no matter what, which is nice to see. I haven't really seen hardly any stutters or issues, which is great as well, whether I'm running high or low. Alright guys, thanks a lot for coming to check out the video as always. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.